All right, guys, welcome back to the live stream. What's going on? Happy Monday. Hope you all had a fantastic weekend. My name is Odum. Welcome to the live stream. What we do here, of course, every Monday, we get together and we live stream our process as we're trying to figure out how to build ourselves a company which is going to generate us $1 million in revenue every single year. That company, of course, is Pixel Media. The first year we did about 100K of revenue, just a little bit under. And second year, I haven't even really tracked it, so it's much less than 100K. I don't know specifically what it is, but this year we're hoping for 250K, and we are building our media company. I don't know why that's in quotation marks, but it's our media company, and we've just opened up the doors for our new podcast studio and content creation studio, which we are going to get into here very shortly. So let's get into it. Of course, we review what went well last week, what didn't go well so much the previous week, look at some analytics, some stats, and then make some decisions on what we're going to do this next week, of course, to move forward towards our goal. So let's dive right into this right now. Week 6. This is the 6th week we've done this in this format. So last week it was April 21st to April 27th. So let's just kind of have a look at how things went. Of course, we have kind of two primary objectives of what we're trying to reach in 2025. And of course, I mean, the main objective is to get $1 million, right? But we have two different angles in which we're approaching that. The first one is we have our own podcast, which is called Unconventional Mindset. We want to grow that into the #1 podcast here in Canada. And that, of course, is going to inform our second part of what we're doing, which is Pixel Media Company, which is our studio in which we help clients create their own podcasts and their own content to help them grow their businesses. So so we've basically decked out our place. We've got like a nice home office, home studio setup going on here. And that's what we're moving forward with. Okay. So in order to track these, just doing two very simple metrics to start off with. And the first one is tracking how many downloads / views we get per podcast episode. And we're averaging 50 per episode. So that's down about 3 since last week. And basically how I calculate that is I take all the total number of views and everything that we've had, and I divide it by the number of episodes that we've actually released, right? So that's an average of 50. We want to get that to 1,000, which would be awesome. Okay, so I guess that's like we're 5% there, which isn't too bad. 50 might be, he might feel a little bit, thinking that number was bigger. But, it is what it is right now, and it's not too bad. So I'm actually pretty happy with it, considering that's way more subscribers than we even have like on the YouTube channel, for example. Anyways, and in terms of revenue, we'd love to, by the end of the year, hit a consistent $3,000 a month in studio revenue. And this past month, we did $150 so far in revenue. And hopefully in May, once we start actually promoting and putting ourselves out there, that revenue could hopefully start to increase here. Okay, last week, what did we work on last week? So we had our first client come in the studio a couple weeks ago, and there are 3 cameras set up and the audio files. The audio files are pretty small. They're only like 1 or 2 gigs, but the cameras record about, I think it's like, is it like 50 gigabytes per 1 hour of recording, something like that. So we had to do a little bit of technical support with them to make sure that they can actually download the files correctly, because I put them up in Dropbox, and when you download them just through the browser, if it takes like 8 hours to download, there can be some issues with downloading those larger files. So I had to do a little technical support with that. So that's something we're going to have to think about in the future, of how to properly make sure that we can hand off the files appropriately to our clients. And then the big thing that I worked on is updating, this is the whole title of the video today, is updating our website with our new offerings and the new services that we're going to make available in our studio. So that's been put live. We're going to take a look at that here momentarily. Today, I had a podcast today. So actually, I'm recording this now, or this is live right now, after I did the episode today. But a guest came in, we did the episode, which was fantastic. So we recorded that. So, but of course I prepared for that last week. And of course, the big thing too is I was meeting with a client, going over the content strategy of what we're going to do going forward in order to develop the monthly content for this person. And this is basically me working with her to validate this large ticket offering that we're having with Pixel. So hopefully over the next few months, we can start uploading some of this content and seeing some actual results with how many people are coming into her business and getting money for her. So that's the big thing of what we're going to want to try to do with the new large ticket item offering in Pixel. But we're going to get to that again, like I said, in a moment. Episode 8 of Unconventional Mindset, that was released, a great episode. And of course, we didn't do any outreach last week because we're just so much stuff to do. So a couple lessons from last week. So this is a big one. I learn it pretty much all the time, but it always needs to be said, is make sure I prioritize sleep. There was a couple days where I was just like, oh, I'll just get this and this done. And then before I know it, it's like 2 o'clock in the morning. And then I have to wake up early, and then I don't sleep well because my sleeping gets all off. And it makes the rest of the day go really poorly. I don't know. It's just me getting older, I guess. I don't know. But it's so important to get the right amount of sleep. So I can't stress it enough to prioritize sleep. So I got to write it down here to make sure that I'm consistent with my sleep. And another thing too is that with the difficulties with my client downloading the raw video files, not necessarily, I would say, my fault, but it's still something that I should help my clients with understanding. And I'm thinking that there's going to be needing, or it'd be great for me to have some documentation on the website for how to go about like downloading larger files, to have basically like a download manager or something to be able to make sure that you can download those files correctly without having any corruption or anything like that too. And then also having some tutorials or some educational materials on how to actually edit a podcast once you have all the raw files. So those are little things that I know I'm just keeping note of, that those are things I'm going to have to work on. Okay, so what do we want to get done this week? Shorts. Still behind on my shorts, getting even more behind now with another episode that we recorded today, but create shorts for episodes 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh my goodness, that's 4 episodes of shorts that I need to make. And then of course I have to edit episode 9, which we just finished wrapping up. We just finished wrapping up filming a couple hours ago actually, and then work on the content for my clients. So gonna try to really catch up on all of this work that's in the backlog, and then I can start moving forward, I think, on other things like bringing in more guests and getting more guests onto the podcast. So that's it for everything in terms of updating of how things went last week. And now I want to go into the website here. So here is our brand new website. I wonder, is this, maybe I could just, it's always, oh, where's my mouse here? I'll make it a little bit bigger. There we go. I think that displays a little bit better. Okay. So, right. Where do we go from here? Okay. So nothing has changed here from this homepage intro where updated the video. So these are the videos of people that have been in the studio recording our podcast. So I still have the same tagline here: turn your voice into a brand, grow your podcast into the next big thing with Pixel. Maybe that might change. Instead of growing your podcast, it might be grow your business with content using Pixel or something like that. But I don't know how much I have to worry about that right now in terms of what the text is and how much I need to optimize that. But anyways, okay. Oh, well, I can talk even a little bit here about the new navigation. So navigation has been cleaned up a little bit, where there's Our Studio, so you can actually go and take a look at the studio page, the pricing, the different services that are offered, and then the resources. So if you look at services, there's the Podcast Creator and the Podcast Premium. And then under resources, there's the how-to guides, and then the Pixel blog, which is something that's coming soon. So I think with the services, there might be another one here coming soon where I just say just content creation, where you can just come into the studio and record any other type of content like educational material and talking head videos. So it might not just be podcasting, because people might want to create all kinds of other different kind of content as well too. But I think what I need to do is probably have different types of studio looks in my apartment before I make something like that available. Because, this is a really nice setup for a podcast, but I'm not sure exactly how we're going to work that. So I'd like to have different looks. I think that's going to be super critical for being able to put myself up above the competition, is providing a different look and feel than this, more darker, I don't say gloomy, but it's just a more dark kind of look to the studio here, right? I guess I could be changed too with the different lighting. I could just brighten it up and everything too, but the walls are black and, it's just a little bit more of a darker vibe. Anyways, all right. So the homepage basically just walks through the 3 different services, which is just booking the podcast to be able to record your episode. There's the Podcast Creator, which is where we'll work with them to they come in to record the episode in the studio, but then we do all the editing, and then we do the clips, and we do the shorts and thumbnails. So just basically editing the one podcast. And then the third thing is the podcast premium, where that is the big ticket item where you come to the studio once a month, and then we do podcasts and do 2 to 4, depending on how many. 4 will be a lot in one day, but maybe do 2 or 3, depending on what plan or how much, how many guests they could potentially have. Whatever the case may be, we'll work that client by client basis. And anyways, we do that and we record for one day and get like the full month's worth of content. So at least I'm thinking 100 to 150 different pieces of content per that one recording session. So this is for the busy entrepreneur, the busy business. They don't have time to do any of that kind of crap, but they can come in once a month, record all the content that they need to, and then get that over and done with. And then they can go about doing the things that bring in revenue to their company. So those are the 3 things. So this is the first one, create a podcast you can be proud of. We make it easy to create and grow your podcast. We take care of the technology. You focus on having great conversations. So book our professional studio. It's equipped with professional grade audio and video equipment, blah, blah, blah. All you do is show up and we take care of the rest. On-site engineer and technical support, 3-camera video setup, up to 4 guests. Same-day cloud delivery of raw and video files. Go ahead and just click more to see our studio. And then, so this is the second part here, content on autopilot. Focus on what you're good at. We'll take care of the rest. Oh, by the way, if you're watching this, I would love to hear what you have to think and what you have to say about this website. I'm going to put it in the I'll just put this up here over there. So that's not the right URL. I don't even have my site right. It's just, there we go. That is correct. It's just pixel.ca. So I would love it if you went to the site, you visited it, and let me know what you think. Your feedback, honest feedback, would be super, super appreciated. All right. So focus on what you're good at. We'll take care of the rest. End-to-end podcast production and distribution, 3 hours of video studio time per episode, 10 to 12 pieces of content per episode. So that's what you get, right? We create the final show, thumbnails, titles, trailers, clips, and reels, hooks in the viewers. So we'll do all that for them. Then lead magnet machine. Turn your knowledge into content that earns attention, builds trust, and drives leads, right? You have the expertise in your business, but you don't have the time or capacity to consistently create high-value content that builds authority, grows your audience, and generates leads. So, of course, if you push out lots of content and that content resonates with your market and your target audience, then that should be able to help you bring in some more high quality leads that kind of match what you're offering. So we plan, coach, produce, and repurpose everything for the client. 1 day per month is equal to 30 days of content. And then every month we go over the analytics, reporting, the sales funnels. We see what's working, what's not working, and then we iterate and improve over time. So the whole goal, of course, is that every month we get better and better at, number 1, producing the content, and number 2, driving traffic through whatever social media avenues we're going through, and generate that traffic through their sales funnel, right? So it's thinking for the client is kind of thinking that this is an investment into an asset that is going to help, that's going to compound and help their business grow over time, right? The more they do it, just like any social media platform, if you're doing it well, the more you're going to grow, the more you're going to be able to reach, and then the better bang for your buck in terms of the bigger audience that you have, right? So that's the idea behind that. And then it's just kind of to explore pricing. So let's go one page at a time here real quick. The studio page here, a professional space to tell your story. So this one I just kind of want to focus on the imagery and getting some new images of the studio itself. This is the same 3-step process. You book the time, you come in for recording, and then we deliver your files. And then I just put this collage of different things in the studio, like the cameras, the tech table, a shot of the studio itself, and then different people actually just, using and enjoying the studio. Well, they all got smiles on their faces, right? So, so just if you look at the cameras here, I got a couple Sony a7 IVs and an a7C as well too. So that's the studio. And then here, just different things that we actually have in the studio. The cameras, microphones, the Rodecaster Pro, the A10 Mini. That's for doing great live edits. Soundproofing, the 55-inch display right here where they can blast on their logo or what have you. Yeah, soundproofing, RGB lighting. The lights can change colors, as you can see here. There's some nice pinks and some blues as well. Cloud file delivery, up to 4 people, blah, 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 right? All the cool stuff. And then 2 options here for pricing. I had initially just put the one for the podcast studio, but I put this podcast creator here as well too, because this one's $750 per episode, but there's more to it, right? So this one here, podcast studio, is if you just want to book the studio and then you're going to do all the editing yourself. But the podcast creator is if you're going to want to do or want to have us do it for you, right? And then I have this switcher here, is that if you want to have the live edit, that's where someone's going to be here at the desk live switching the cameras as you're talking. So that's an extra $150. And then that's just tacked onto the prices. And everything here is built in, like it's dynamically. So if you have the live edit and you want to go for 3 hours, you just click on here and then it just brings into a calendar link where people can go ahead and book the time, and then the price is kind of built in there. So that was example with live edit. If I take this without live edit and I click 3 hours, then it goes to the calendar link without, it's just $300, right? So I basically had to make each one of these events in this cal.com software, which is completely free, by the way, which is super awesome. I don't even have to pay for it to do all this stuff, which is incredible. So I can have all this system, these automatic systems in place without me having to do anything. And then what I did as well too is I have discounts. So if somebody wants to book more than 8 sessions in, just more than 8 sections at one time, whether it's live edit or with not, let's say with live edit, and they click here, this is actually a Stripe link. So it's a Stripe link where they can book and they could switch the quantity and it go from 8 up to, I think I put 16 as, 16 is the maximum. So we can update that if they wanted to book 16, and then it has the right price. So I think this is 150, which one is this one? Okay, I think I messed up on the price here in terms of the description. Price is discounted from $150 to $130 per episode. Includes a live edit. So I think this is actually a different price. Hang on a second. Let's do a quick calculator. Okay, so it's 150, and then it's supposed to be 300. So times 16. That's 4,800. Yeah, so this is right. And then minus 10% discount. So that's minus 480. Okay, I just didn't put the price right. This price needs to say 3,000. I think I should update that right now, because if I go back to, let me just go back to here. If I remove that live edit and I go to this booking on this Stripe page. Yeah, so this is, okay, I just need to update that on Stripe. Kevin, how's it going? Welcome, welcome. How was your trip? Are you back from your trip? Back home, because it was Jamaica, right, that you were at? Hopefully that went well. Okay, I'm just going to bring up my Stripe here just for a second. I'm just going to hide my screen in case I flash up like my crazy credentials. Back home, tanned and rested. Sounds good. Yeah, I would imagine you had a great time, which is awesome. It's always good to hear. Okay, hang on a second. So let's go to our payment links. And it's Podcast Studio with live edit. So I'm going to go here. Yeah, I think this is the price. Yeah, this is the price here. So let me turn that off. I think we can go back to here. Okay, so I'm just in my Stripe portal. And here is this Podcast Studio with live edit. And it's, the product is $270. So it has the live edit. So I think what I need to do is I basically need to edit this. So I'm not sure exactly where I need to edit. Yeah, here's where I can edit. I need to edit the description. Edit product. Is it the product? Yeah, here we go. Podcast Studio with live edit. Okay. Price is discounted from, I think I need to say 300. This is a minimum of 8 90-minute studio sessions. 300 to 270. So that's correct. I'm trying to think now. Oh, okay. You know what I don't have? Right. Okay. So this is where it might be a little bit tricky, where without having a scheduling software, it might be a little bit difficult. Okay. Because what I have now is when you can select each one of these times to book for an hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours, but this 10% for booking 8 sessions, it's not by out like 1.5 hours, 2 hours. The only thing you could do is this is a 10% for booking an hour and a half session. That's it. So a 90-minute session. So I don't have 3 links for those 3 different products. So we'll have to see how it goes and then go from there. I don't think it's worth my time right now to really try to get into the weeds to make every single possible option like clickable. So, if somebody's looking for more, I guess they could get in touch with me. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see how that goes. I'm not going to concern myself too much with this right now. I think this is pretty good as is. And if anybody wants anything more than what's given here, then we'll just have to figure out how we're going to work that in. Now that's going to go. I've seen other podcast studios, the different software that they're using. Some of them are using Square or using this other scheduler software. I can't remember what it's called. But for now, I don't mind programming it as much as I can myself and getting like 95% of the way there and then worrying about everything else later, all those kind of edge cases. So this goes into the calendar, goes into their calendar. So it's pretty, I don't know. I think it's pretty good. Okay. So yeah, so that's it for the podcast studio or podcast creator. And now there's podcast premium, or sorry, that was just the studio. So now you need to go to the podcast creator. So here's just some shots of the artwork, I guess, that's on the walls here. And this is this is all new content, but this just talks about how it's all in one video production, just all the different things that we do. The studio, the end-to-end production, the social media content, written content, titles, thumbnails, and branding, just to make sure it matches their look and feel. So, I should probably take off this most popular tag now that I see that. Hang on. Let's go here. Podcast creator. I don't even know why that's there. Let's make that hidden. Man, Webflow with these new properties and the new different variants or variations you can do on instances of like objects, or what are they called now? Components. So nice. Thank you, Webflow. Anyways, sponsored by Webflow. That's my 25 cents for the day. Okay, so if we refresh that, okay, that's gone. Okay, then again, this is just the same thing. This is just a pricing table, and it's $750 per studio session. And then there's only one version here, and it's up to 3 hours. So it's basically come into the studio to record one episode, and we give them up to 3 hours, and it's $750 per episode. And then again, a 10% discount. And again, I'm pretty sure, yeah, that's a Stripe gateway. Perfect. And yeah, you could book between 8 and 18, I think is the limit, or 16, I should say. I don't know if anybody's going to book way more than that. That's a lot of podcast episodes to book in advance, but it could happen if somebody wants to do like a full 12-part season or 24-part season or something like that, right? So they could pay like half and half or something like that. Okay, so let's go back there. And then we get to the podcast premium, which again, this is kind of the bigger ticket item, which I don't know, this might help with price anchoring as well too. I know Alex Hormozi talks a lot about this in terms of if you have something that's so high on your price structure that the lower ones or the middle ones sound a lot more reasonable because you anchored them at such a high price. It's like, what? $10,000? Okay, well, $200 is not so bad, right? So, we'll see. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to have an effect or not. Who knows, right? Okay, so build authority through your expertise. So this is, again, we do everything for them. And we basically do all the steps involved in creating a podcast and then going like 10 steps further because we're going to use that to drive content towards their sales funnel and get them into the sales funnel and see exactly what kind of returns they're getting on each piece of content that they produce, or that we produce for them. So they come in once a month, they record, and then we develop all that content for you. And I've seen a few startups even in San Francisco and Silicon Valley, that work with startups to do this for them, because they're startups. They don't have the time to get themselves out there. So they hire other companies, and those companies themselves use like AI to do all of that grunt work for them. So there's lots of things that I'm considering implementing in my workflow to use AI to take down content, put it in the AI thing, and it spits out titles and show notes and all that, and blog posts and all that kind of stuff. So there's so much work that can be cut down to make this stuff a whole lot easier, which I'm super excited about. So hopefully at some point we'll get into exactly how we're going to be using AI to cut this down, but we'll see how things go once we get clients and all that kind of stuff. All right. So anyways, smarter way to grow your brand. So this is just a little bit of boring talk that I kind of came up with to try to get the people, like if someone's going to be actually reading this, to see if this fits their persona, in terms of, they're too busy to be able to create content consistently, but they know that it's super important and they want to be a leader in their field. They want to be that person in the industry or in their community that people come to and look up to. And to do that, one of the great ways of doing that is creating valuable content that people love to consume. So yeah, so that's a little content there. And then just your secret weapon for building a loyal audience. Give us 1 day per month and we'll give you 30 days of high quality content. And, every month we just wash, rinse, repeat, I guess basically is the way it is. And if you're ready to start, and then it starts at $5,000, and I have this little thing here, only 2 spots available, which is 100% true. I'm not lying, because I know that if I get more than 2 clients that would sign up, say like tomorrow, that would be more than I can chew, or that would be enough. I wouldn't want to take a bite off of more than that because I couldn't chew it. Oh my God, my analogy is totally dying, but I think you guys get the point there. So this is all the kind of stuff you get. So that's that. Frequently asked questions, kind of at the bottom of every page that has this pricing table, which goes right into our pricing table right here. So it can all be seen right here on /pricing, the 3 different options. So yeah, maybe there's a price anchoring here that people are like, oh, 5,000, that's way too high. I'm going to do this one with a live edit or whatever. Having people come into the studio, could do the live edit, and then they're gone, and then that's like $300. I mean, that's not a bad deal. So not a bad deal for the clients, but also not a bad deal for me in terms of, like $300 for like an hour and a half of work. That's not too bad. And that's enough to pay staff, and put a little bit of money in the bank to help grow the business. So yeah, that's good. I don't know. I'm looking forward to this. Okay. Anyways, services, we have that. Resources. Right now, it's still just this one thing where you can sign up and then get access to that playbook that I wrote. And there's a difference in font sizes here. So this is good. This allows me to look at these things that I haven't seen or I missed them. Let's go into, I think that's this page. What is going on here? So if I go list. Okay, did I just... And this is inside rich text. Okay, that's interesting. So, and the weight should just be default. Okay. All right, let's publish that. I think that's it for that. Let's just refresh that. Oop. Still hasn't published. Okay, what's going on? Why is it taking so long? Usually doesn't take this long. Yeah, there's some issue going on. Let's refresh this. Oh, classic Webflow. Okay, that looks good. Let's try to republish. Okay, there it goes. There we go. Okay. So yeah, so right now there's lots of stuff that I want to do with the courses. I'm talking with somebody tomorrow about this and seeing if there's any way that I can get some kind of funding that can help fund all the time it's going to take for me to create these tutorials that I really want to create. So I'm going to see if I can get some funding for that, which would be totally amazing. So I'm really trying to think outside the box here and how I could do things a little bit differently in terms of just not me just doing all the work myself and just paying through everything through my sweat and time equity, which is fine. I don't mind doing that. But if there's grants or anything out there that I can get, 10, 20, 30 grand and just use that to be able to create something that somebody would want to have, I think that would be really good. So I'm really trying to think outside the box, entrepreneur wise here, I guess you can say. So, and then the blog, there's no blog right now, so it's just coming soon. So I just put that as a coming soon. And yeah, that's it. This book studio, I think, just gets to the pricing page. Yeah, so that's it. It's very simple and straightforward. I'm hoping it's very clear. I'm hoping people are going to come to this website and feel like that it's professional, that it's clean, that the studio itself looks nice. I don't know if I need any more pictures of the studio itself. I mean, I think it looks pretty good. But I don't know. Rolando, maybe you can tell me what's going on. Saludos a todos. I don't know. Is that like hello to everyone? Something like that. I probably butchered that pronunciation, so my apologies. Screw that back in. Yes. How's it going, Rolando? How are you doing? How's the weather? Hopefully it's not too bad. Not too hot, not too dry. It was a nice, beautiful 10 degrees Celsius today here in Halifax. So super pumped about that. 10 degrees, shorts, t-shirts. Got it all today. Or not at all. 10 degrees is beautiful. 42. Holy shit. Yeah, that's warm. That is warm. Yeah, hopefully the AC is still working today. Okay, so yeah, this is the website. Love to hear your guys' thoughts, feedback, whatever you guys think of the site. But yeah, I think it's going to, well, I mean, I don't know if it's going to work or not, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I think the next steps are definitely going to be going out there and reaching out to people to, well, Rolando, you talked about this, and I've been thinking a lot about this. I haven't done anything about this yet, but about seeing whether I go to the Chamber of Commerce or wherever it is that I go to try to get, a few people to come in the door and give them that free episode or that free podcast episode so they can come to the studio and just record. So I'm thinking about how exactly to structure that. And there was something else that I was thinking about. Oh, I haven't heard back yet from the client, but I did offer 20% off of their next purchase for review. And hopefully, I mean, this would be ideal for me or for them as well too, is that if they go and they want to like buy 8 sessions because they really enjoyed this and then they want to get themselves a good deal, 20% off of $1,000 is, they're going to pay $800 or whatever it is for 8 episodes. So that's a pretty good deal. And it would be great for me because that's more clients kind of come in the door and some more work coming in. And I feel like it's one of those things that could snowball in the sense of once people start coming and using the gym. Sorry, Rolando, you just made a thing with do you have a bulletin board at the gym where you play hockey? Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff like that. I hear where you're getting at. I think I know where you're going. But what I was going to say is people come in and then they produce their podcast and it's through our studio and then they send it out to their audience, right? And then there's going to be friends that are going to be talking and say, hey, where did you get that? Where did you record that podcast? That was amazing. Oh, it's from Pixel, blah, 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 blah. Check out the site. I think it's just going to help grow with word of mouth. So I'm really looking forward to how that's going, how that's going to go. So we'll see how that's going to be. And again, the really great advice to figure out how I can get some people to come into the door for free and see what can be done from there. So do I have a bulletin board at the gym? So yeah, I definitely do. I don't know if it's free to post up stuff there, but that being said, I know the people there because I was like, I'll see them all the time. So maybe it could be something easily that I can put up there, or even, I know you can even get ads on the boards and stuff, but I don't know if that's necessarily where my target market's going to be. But it's tough to say because the people that go into ice hockey rinks are generally parents that are taking their kids to hockey. So the parents could do all kinds of different things for their kids. So you have like real estate agents and insurance people, and there's like restaurants. There's all kinds of different, almost like generic service-based businesses that have ads like around the boards and in arenas. But yeah, just little bulletin boards around yeah, I mean, grocery stores, they have some. So you can always just, I could just take my cards or whatever and just like stick them up on the wall and stuff. Yeah. So I think, you know, put the ego aside and not be so, I don't know, just don't think I'm not beneath going out and putting out flyers underneath, you know, people's windshield wipers and stuff like that, right? Like it's not like get out there and think of some creative and very, very cheap ways to try to get the word out and try to get people into the office here. So yeah, looking forward to seeing how all of that stuff is going to progress here in the next coming weeks, I guess I can say. So right, so that's kind of all I have for today. So that was last week. That was last week, and that's what's going on this week. So I think, yeah, what I said is really getting caught up on editing all the shorts for the past 4 episodes and just getting caught up with all my content. So I could feel like I'm kind of not head underwater, but maybe just the water just coming up over here, and I can breathe again, and I could start going, being a little bit, just doing a little bit better with in terms of balancing my current clients and then balancing that with getting guests to the Unconventional Mindset and then growing the Pixel Studio as well too. So yeah, check the email I just sent you. I will check. Nothing yet. Is it a good email or is it a bad email? I'll have to filter it into my good news inbox. Sometimes these things take a while. Oop. So I'll just wait here for a bit until it gets through. There it is. Oh, the Pixel page is very heavy. Ooh, you know what? I didn't even think of testing that. Ooh, yeah, the performance. I totally forgot to look at the performance. And is that just the home page? Let's have a quick look here. I totally forgot about checking that out. All right. All right, let's go. Let's go here. It's probably because the video, I would imagine. So anyways. Yeah, only the homepage? Yeah. Okay. Yay. Accessibility is pretty low. And I don't know if this is a difference for me, so performance I have 100. I don't know if it's probably because maybe it's my speed personally, but accessibility is at 90 here. What do we have issues here for accessibility? Language, okay. Captions. Yeah, this probably has to do with the video stuff here in terms of this track with the captions. So I don't think anything's too big of a deal. But this diagnostics here, potentials, eliminate rendering block. Minify, okay, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So the image I sent you the data about size of the images, fonts, etc. I thought I had, what's the word? Like compressed all the images, but it could very well be that I didn't. So let me download that image here. Okay, this is from what you sent me. So yeah, the images were the big thing here. So what am I looking at here? Content by size, requests. So yeah, the images were obviously the biggest thing. And well, it's only what 873 kilobytes, so that's not bad. At least from my point of view. Yeah, but you're just 86 performance grade, 1.1 megabyte in total loading, which is, yeah, the same as is here. So it's really the images that are the big issue, eh? At least in terms of performance. So, and let's just go to another page here real quick. This one has images as well, but how do I clear this? Is there a clear? Can I just run this again? What's going on here? There we go. Let's go this page. Yeah, it's funny. Whenever I make a website, sometimes I just forget about doing these kinds of things. So we've got the same thing here for accessibility performance here. Interesting. What do I want to look at here? Yeah, all those images here. One of the images rendered at, yeah, actually, yeah, because they're not in WebP format. So I think what we can do, and I do believe that Webflow has this ability to help us out here. I think what we can do is we can go into our assets, and I think we can take these images and we should be able to compress them or what have you, whatever it is that they do to them. I don't know what other images I'm using. I might be using these ones here. I think I'm using that one. Yeah, so if we go here, we can compress these guys. And we'll compress them into WebP. Oh, this is interesting. Say back up, blah, blah. Recommend. Why is AVIF recommended? Maybe I should do this one because it's what it recommends. I don't know. Do you guys know what the difference is? This is where I'm probably getting out of touch with what's going on in the web design space. AVIF is for video. Well, then why is it saying this then? Because I selected just JPEGs. Okay, well then we'll go with WebP anyways, because this is kind of what I know. That's weird. All right. It shouldn't take that long. All right, save 50%. Okay, so now if we run it again, hopefully it would be, that much better. Although, maybe I should go to that site that you were using there, Rolando. Pingdom website speed test? Okay, now the performance has dropped. Okay, well, whatever. 99 still pretty good, although that's very interesting as to why it dropped. So let's see, what site was that you were using there? I'm just going to type this in. Pingdom speed test. This looks like it. All right. Okay, interesting. It has the exact same page size, but I'm looking here from the results that you did, Rolando, and it's even different. Still the same performance, but load time is almost twice. It's more than twice as long. 23 requests. Compress components with gzip. I wonder if that compression just hasn't worked yet, or if it just takes some time for it to clear the cache or whatever. I don't know, because I wonder if you ran this. Yeah, I don't. Very interesting. That seems really weird to me, though. And a 301. So if we go over this image that you sent me here. Yeah, the image is like giving me the exact same percentage. So it says that it was compressed, but whatever. I think maybe it just takes some time to get through to the servers, maybe. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know how that works. So maybe what we'll have to do is just come back tomorrow to see if, or test it out some other time to see if it, if it's going to respond. That's very weird. No need to apologize at all, because it's something that I just forget to think about. Because for me, I just build it and like that's it. And I have pretty good speeds here too on my home computer, so I usually don't I just don't think about doing it sometimes, or most of the time I don't think about it. So yeah, like my speed's not looking too bad right now, so yeah, I just don't worry about it. And then I don't notice like really slower sites too, because my speed's pretty decent. So yeah. So I had good download and upload speeds. So yeah. But it's important. I really appreciate you keeping it in my mind, because yeah, I just forget. So maybe the pricing page, that's an important page. Let's try to see if I could how do I reset this lighthouse thing? There's got to be a reset here, no? Somewhere? What just happened there? All right, let's just analyze that. That speed would be excellent for sim racing. So are you just talking about like online, like a sim, like racing game, almost like the aviation games or what have you, that you can play in a group of people? I will say I've never done anything like that. So I'd always love to play those like simulation, like fighter pilots, and those you just learn how to like fly. You just fly a jet or what have you. Those things look really, really cool. And but even the racing ones look really cool, where people are sitting down in these things that look super, super realistic. Yeah, for the F1 game. What's that movie? There's a movie that I watched recently. Well, recently, it's probably like 6 months ago. But it was Gran Turismo, where it was that story of, I guess, the contest where Nissan got a bunch of like video game players to race, and then they took the real winners of the video games and then trained them to be like actual. Was it F1? I don't know if it was F1 or I don't know. Anyways, I don't know what kind of racing they were doing, but I think, yeah, well, they did whatever is racing, like the Le Mans, whatever that race is. I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. But it was a really cool movie, because they had like really cool effects and stuff where they're showing guys in the race cars and their big bucket seats, and they're doing the simulations, and they just know the games so well. And it's just really, really cool. And how crazy simulations are for like transferring into like real life skills and real world skills. So there's the racing simulators, and then there's the airplane simulators and stuff like that, which is just really, really cool. So especially because things like that it's so difficult and like so expensive to, learn how to fly or drive a race car. I imagine that's not really cheap as well too, with trek time and gasoline and the vehicle itself. It's kind of crazy. Okay, so Rolando, is there anything else that I need to think about in order to optimize my website? I mean, yes, I want to make sure it loads fast and all that kind of stuff. So it seems like I got a decent grade, but there's some things I could do with optimizing images and stuff. I do need to do SEO stuff, so I haven't done that. So that's definitely on the list. Things that I need to do. Yes, the schema. Yeah, exactly. So I knew you were going to say that. So I was like, yeah, I got to put that in there. So we'll work on that. But if there's anything else, you can let me know. Yeah. Yeah, but I think, yeah, I'll work on that. Yeah, I'm just trying to think if there's anything else. There's nothing else that I can personally think of. Because I think the biggest thing is really going to be really getting myself out there and making sure people know who I am and getting people to, oh, geez, I'm not in focus. My microphone is falling down now. What is going on here? Oh, geez. Okay, there we go. All right. So, yeah, I think that is all that I have for this evening. Oh, it's getting late. It's already almost 7 o'clock here. Atlantic time. All right. Everyone, thank you. Rolando, Kevin, thank you so much for dropping by. Appreciate it, as always. Very, very helpful. Love the insights. We're going to keep working away, and I have a really good feeling that this is the year that this studio is going to take off. We're going to start making some serious cash here. And yeah, and then we'll be meeting up at an F1 at some point. Man, I'm telling you guys, we got to do this. We got to meet up because it's going to be awesome. Like, I'm super pumped, and it'll be so awesome. So it's like a way for me to say thank you for all you guys, your help here in the early stages of getting Pixel off the ground. So yeah, I can't wait. Stupid focus on my face, man. Oh man, going blurry. All right. So let me run a quick audit and I'll send you an email. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. But you're not going to see any schema stuff because I haven't done any of that stuff. So, but I do need to do that. But I do appreciate any feedback or support. So it's very, very helpful. So thank you very much. All right, guys. That's it for me. Take care. Have yourselves a great rest of your day and a great rest of your week, as always. And as for me, I'll be back here on Monday with a brand new live stream. Until then, take care, and we'll see you on Monday.